Backcycling Part 2. Welcome back. This is part 2 of a 3-part series on backcycling for Fingerstyle Jazz Guitar. My name is Tyler Delsek. Thanks for joining me again. If you're new to this lesson or new to the channel, please subscribe and ring the bell, do all that stuff to stay informed when I post. If this is your first time visiting, please check out part 1 on backcycling. We talk about the basics of backcycling, how we can write these arrangements and how backcycling works, etc. So this lesson, what we're going to be doing is talking a lot about how to add more color via chord substitutions. So we're going to be doing some basic chord substitutions, some more jazzy chord substitutions with altered sevenths, etc. So we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So let's get into it. So as a refresher, we're working on the lead up notes to Autumn Leaves. And what we did in part 1 is that we worked backward from our target chord of A minor 7, and we filled out our arrangement. We found an E minor 7, we found a B minor 7, and we found an F sharp minor 7. And what we did was we did this. We went... And in the previous lesson, I said that's just for simplicity's sake that we're going to be using all minor 7 chords, but that in no way or shape or form means that that's all we have to use. We have a ton of possibilities. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today, is adding a little bit more color and tension to our arrangement. So one of the quickest and easiest ways I will try some substitutions is let's just try dominant 7th chords. So, and also altered 7th chords. And so if you need a refresher on an altered 7th chord, an altered dominant 7th chord is a dominant 7th chord with either a sharp 9, a flat 9, a sharp 5, or a flat 5. So a classic example of a altered dominant 7th chord is that Hendrix chord, our E7 sharp 9. And it just so happens that that is literally one note difference from the chord that we picked before. So our E minor 7. So let's hear what our arrangement sounds if we just substitute this E7 sharp 9 for our E minor 7. That sounds great. It adds a little bit more tension, a little bit more color, and whenever we add a lot of tension, the resolution is really what matters, and having that 5-to-1 resolution, especially to a nice minor 7 voicing, sounds great. Let's substitute a B dominant 7 for a B minor 7. Let's hear what that sounds like. That also sounds great. And what that actually does, the 3rd and the 7th note of a dominant 7 chord, or really any 7th voicing, is possibly the most important. It dictates the tonality, and in a lot of ways with jazz, they lead into each other. So with this arrangement here, what we were just doing, the 3rd and the 7th note are kind of doing something like this. And that sounds pleasing to the ear. And we can continue that by changing our F sharp minor 7 to an F sharp dominant 7. So let's just try that. That also sounds great. And again, what that's doing is doing some voice leading here. And it's just fantastic. I love using that that approach when doing chord melodies. It just sounds a little bit more full, a little bit more rich. We can also experiment with other chord voicings, especially let's just work on that B dominant 7. That B dominant 7, we can substitute, or we can add in the 9th, so we can make that a B7 9. The easiest way to do that is to start on the third of the chord, which is E flat, and we can play a minor seventh voicings. So, and the way to think about that is, if I were to just grab my thumb on this B, that's not the easiest voicing to grab, so just by, sounds great. So let's try the dominant 7. So that sounded great. We could bring back the alter dominant E7 right there. Again, similar tonalities, but they sound fantastic. We can also take that B7 9 and transform that into an alter dominant. So we can do a B7 flat 9. And the easiest way to play that is basically the same voicing, but flat the 9th. A good way to remember that is it's also starting on the 3rd, and we're playing a diminished 7th voicing. So something like this. So let's hear what that sounds like. So we're adding a lot more color to it. It sounds great. And we can use the same exact logic, and apply it to our F sharp. So again, starting on the 3rd, we need to get the E in the melody note, and luckily for us, the E is in this F sharp 7 chord. It's the flat 7. We have a couple options here. We can just move our diminished 7th voicing up 3 notes. And that's our substitution for F sharp. In this case, it's starting on the 5th. And so let's hear what that sounds like. That's adding a lot of color, and when we build up that tension and release it with that A minor 7, it's incredibly satisfying. Since E is in the chord of F sharp dominant 7 or minor 7, we can use an inversion. So we can use the first inversion. And what I like about this voicing is it's actually close to my next step. Let me just play some examples. Here's the first inversion of F sharp dominant 7. So that sounds great. If I want to alter that B7, that's another option. As you can see, we have a ton of options to choose from. And we haven't gotten even into tritone substitutions yet, which is what we're going to be doing in part 3. In this lesson, I wanted to just explore some basic chord substitutions. And I want to hammer home a point more than anything. In Chord-Melody and in jazz harmony, there are rules. What I find, especially when it comes to guitar and Chord-Melody playing, is I tend to just try to forget all that. What sounds the best? And stick with that. You know, I think a great exercise is to just work out all of these options. When it comes time to performance, improvise, do what feels natural. That, in my opinion, is the best way with Chord-Melody. Chord-Melody still should be an improvisation. It still should be fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rote science. So it helps when you're in the woodshed to really practice these, kind of work out everything, and eventually your ear and your fingers will start grabbing these voicings. That's my part 2 on our backcycling for fingerstyle jazz guitar. I hope you found this helpful. Please visit tylerdelsack.com. I have this entire lesson written out, and again, drop me a comment with any ideas. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that little bell thing for notifications. And definitely don't forget to see me for part 3 when it comes to tritone substitutions, because that's when it gets really fun. So you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all next time.